Hi guys, and welcome to day 11 of Bakemas. Okay, so let's talk about this. Do I like coconut? No, I do not. But my husband loves Samoas, which are like a Girl Scout cookie recipe. Do I know how to make them? No. And am I not going to make the original Samoa cookie recipe? Also, yes, I'm going to make a cookie bar. Because I looked it up and they seem like a lot of work to make them into individual cookies, but to make a cookie bar makes it a little bit easier. Do I have a recipe for this? Nah, not really. No. Are these gonna come out delicious? I kind of hope so. So let's get into this video. Oh my gosh, I didn't introduce myself. Hi, my name is Misha. I am trying to bake my way into Christmas. So welcome to day 11 of Bakemas. I am just like an at-home baker. I'm not even a baker. I'm just like an at-home person that's trying to bake her way into Christmas by making baked goods for people that I love or for just my husband. So today we are going to be trying to make cookie bar Samoas for him. So let's get into the video. Okay, so let's jump into the recipe. So I have coconut in the oven, 350, getting toasted up because it's a part of like that Samoa flavor. Next, I have sugar in this pan going because we are going to make a caramel sauce. Now, I'm going to make it more into like a caramel candy. So how I'm going to do that is I put 3/4 of a cup of sugar and I am going to kind of like melt it down, and in another bowl, that bowl I have next to it, I am going to chop up about half a cup of meltable white chocolate and a little bit of butter in there, and then I'm gonna just like whisk that together and then add the toasted coconut in, and that is going to make it, rather than like a caramel sauce, more of like a caramel candy. So I'm gonna get that going over there. And let's get into the cookie base. Now, since the caramel sauce and coconut is sweet, I am going to make our cookie base a little bit more on the buttery side rather than the sweeter side, because the whole thing gets chocolate over it. So let's get into our cookie base. I want to show you guys the sugar that I have just going in the pan. Now, I do have this on medium-low. You do not want to rush this. Let this cook down slowly. I started the sugar first because this is going to take the longest. So just let it nice and slow, okay? Do not rush this, because if you have it on too high of a heat, you will burn your caramel and it'll have a burnt taste. So for our cookie base, we are going to have room temperature butter. Okay, so we have our butter. We're going to add only a half a cup of sugar because, like I said, this is a sweeter base that's going to go on top, so I don't want these cookies to be too sweet. So we're just going to do half a cup. Right there. And then we're going to cream this together. Okay, so now that we have that butter and sugar incorporated, we are just going to add an egg, just one egg, and we're going to mix that in. Do not take your eye off the coconut. I burnt some of it, but most of it's salvageable. Okay, so now that this is incorporated, we are going to put in a tablespoon of baking soda and a cup of flour. Also, we're going to add a pinch of salt. Okay, so now that this is all incorporated, we are going to get this into the baking sheet. This is just a 9x9 pan, and we are just going to put the cookie on the bottom, and then kind of just like even it all out. It is a little bit on the stickier side, but if I also want like a thinner layer, I don't want it to be too thick of a cookie. So yeah, so I'm gonna just push this down and get this all the way across this 9x9 pan. Okay, so now that we have this, we're gonna bake it 350 for about 10 to 12 minutes. Okay, so while that is baking, let's get our white chocolate chopped up. Now that this is all chopped up, we're just going to put it into our bowl, so that way when the sugar is done caramelizing, it can just drop right in. We're also going to put 1 tablespoon of butter in here. So I did turn this up to medium heat because it's still sugary, it hasn't started melting yet. Now that I have like the time to like really just pay attention to it and stir it, I did raise the heat a little bit. And it's already starting to melt, so we're just going to give this a little stir. Just keep stirring this continuously. You don't want any of the sugar to burn. You just want it to get that nice caramel color. Also, be very careful with boiling sugar, because if you get any of this on your skin, it'll like literally give you burn. So Be super, super careful stirring this, super careful when you're pouring this into the white chocolate. Like, so careful. Burning sugar hurts like heck. Look at our sugar starting to take on some color. Now, it's not to the caramelized color I want it yet, but it's getting close. Look at it. Nice and melted and beautiful. Just make sure that you get any of those little clumpy sugars out. But it is almost there. I'm not sure if you guys can see how beautiful and caramel this color is. This is the color that I want it. It's nice, it's melted, it's all incorporated. So now we are going to turn off the stove and we are going to pour this into our... and mix as quickly as you can to incorporate it all. It seized a little too much for me, so I put it back in the pan so I can get it all to melt together and incorporated. So, lesson learned. Now I have this going over a very low heat, but look at it. It is already looking super candy-like, and that is what I wanted more than a caramel sauce. I'm going to let this sit over this heat for just like a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to add in the coconut, and my cookies should be done. Okay, now that I added in my coconut, once again, over that super low heat, I'm just going to incorporate all of this before I put it on the freshly baked cookies, or cookie bar. So let's get this all mixed in. Now that we've got this, I'm going to put chocolate chips. I'm going to spread this all out and then put chocolate chips and put it back in the oven for just a couple of minutes, like a minute, just so the chocolate chips melt, and then that way we get that nice chocolate coating. One, I want to preface this and say, I'm pretty sure this is a fail in looks. Like, look at this thing. It is monstrous looking. Is it a fail in flavor? I don't know. Am I a professional chef? No. No, I'm not. Nor have I ever claimed to be. I've always said I am an at-home baker just trying to do Bakemas. Do I follow recipes? No. Do I make up a lot of my own? Yes. Was I ever really taught how to bake? No. Have I learned everything kind of from the internet and trial and error? Yes. So let's taste it. I'm going to be trying it with a spoon. Why? Because I have to run errands and this is still really hot. So... and by the time I get home later today, it's going to be super late, and my husband may beat me home, so he will be probably eating this before I get a chance to. So, am I using a spoon to eat this? Yes. Here's a bite. Let's give it a try. Mmm. Mmm. This is like the caramel Samoa part, and I really candied this. Like, it is a crunching candy, but something about it, the toasted coconut in this actually tastes really good. I'm not a big fan of coconut. So the bottom cookie is kind of more like a pie crust than like cookie. It's like buttery, melts in your mouth, super good. Hold up. Is this ugly? Yes. But do these flavors work? Also, yes. Does it taste like a Samoa? Absolutely not. Not at all. But is it absolutely delicious? Yes. So is it a fail? Yeah, kind of. But dang, it's a tasty one. Look, I'm doing this series A because I thought it would be fun. I barely have time to even film this, but also because if you're at home thinking, I can't bake that, I can't make that, you totally can. Cause look, life is about trial and error. Do things always come out picture perfect? Absolutely not. But do you get fun creations from the failures? Yes. Yes, you do. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching day 11. Our first kind of fail. Are we going to have more? Probably. Am I going to make it all 25 days? Who knows? But I appreciate you watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.